India, and I thank all the panelists for being here. And from here on, I am going to hand over the charge of this session to our session chair, Professor Ravi Sinha.
Thank you. It's really great to finally come to the last plenary session of a very, very successful World Congress on Disaster Management. And I'm extremely thankful on behalf of the organizers to all of you for being here in full strength on the last day of the Congress. The issue of cities is often not looked at with the importance, and it's not looked at with the seriousness which it deserves, and that has a detrimental effect on basically the well-being of not just the people who are in the city, but of the nations as a whole. So in order to kick off the session, I want to highlight certain issues that when we are talking about disaster resilient cities, or we are talking about disaster resilient urban areas, we are not just talking about urban areas where we reduce and minimize, say, casualties and so on. But we are talking about urban areas which can continue to be the drivers of economy, where jobs continue to be, and so on. So I just want to share some data with you to just highlight what kind of world we are living in and we are going to be living in, and why we should worry about the resilience of cities. So, for example, 2/3 of the world's population is going to live in urban areas by 2050. In 2008, for the first time in human history, half the world population was in urban areas, and now that is going to become up to 2/3 by the year 2050. And 90% of that growth would happen in Asia and Africa. And many of the cities, including cities in India, are going to experience more than 3% growth every year. It's an annual growth rate of 3%, as against an annual growth rate in many of the large cities of developed countries of less than 1%. But not annual, but decadal growth of less than 1%. We are looking at 3% a year, so about 30 times faster growth. And because of that, a large number of mega cities with a population of more than 10 million are going to emerge. And all these new mega cities are going to be in Asia and Africa. So this is where the concentration of people and the concentration of hotspots are going to be. Now, if we just think about why people are coming to the cities, if we think about why we are having urbanization at this scale, which has never been experienced in human history in the past, then the reasons are related to employment, well-being, and quality of life. So 75% of the global GDP now is in cities. So if nations have to grow, the cities have to grow. There's just no way out. We are past the stage where we could think and we could possibly conceive that rural economy is going to be a sustained economy. The economic structure has changed sufficiently for that not to be applicable in the 21st century. And what we expect is that about 85% of the global GDP would be from urban areas by the year 2030. And also, what we are finding is that there are major challenges to sustainable growth in the urban areas because of the very rapid requirement of resources of various kinds for the cities to grow. So, what is it that the city should be able to provide in order to be resilient cities? So, first of all, they should be able to provide equitable access to services. So cities are resilient when the services are resilient, so that to a large fraction of the population, not all, the access to services are resilient. Then it should be in such a way that the most poor are not consigned to live in slums which are highly vulnerable. So reduction of slums and ultimately elimination of slums is a sign of a city being sustainable and resilient. Otherwise, it's not going to be resilient. then the natural assets and natural resources which are there, they need to be preserved. We cannot simply consume all the natural resources and leave the future generation poorer. So that is also a mark of a resilient city if we are able to move in that direction. And because of this, the 21st century is going to have a large number of challenges as well as the opportunities. And the key opportunities I would like to highlight are in economic progress. I already mentioned something about this. Environmental stewardship. The cities are where the people are. So in terms of environmental protection, preservation, restoration, it's the cities which can take the lead. And which is again something which is quite different from what is happening right now. And that is the direction which we need to move in. Then resilience and disaster resilient or sustainable resilient is actually quite integrally tied with social empowerment of the city's population. So unless we are able to link it with the social status and social empowerment, our resilience efforts are going to be limited in their scope. So based on all of this, I would like to say that we have a huge challenge in front of us, that our cities or our world has urbanized and is continuing to urbanize in ways which the humanities have never seen before. So there's nothing to look back to and say how we handled these things in the past. It's a brand new world, and we have to recognize the problems in ways which were never thought of earlier, and we have to find solutions in ways which were never imagined earlier. And today we have a very, very distinguished panel of